Here comes the money. Here comes the money. Money, 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 money. Money, 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 money. Money, 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 money.
It's that magical time of week. I've had the time of my life because I'm here on the DeathPiles and Taxes show. Derek Roy Everett here with the tax man himself, Adam Beasley, the tax man. How are you, my friend?
Well, you just can't count that high without a calculator. That's why
I hire you for an accountant. I got so many monies, I don't know how many monies I have, Adam. Tell me how rich I am.
Tens of hundreds of monies you have.
I got more pennies than I got nickels, and that's far more than I have dimes. But we're here to talk about eBay and selling online, Adam, and I'm so excited because coming up in the second half of our show, we have a very special guest.
Special guests are what we like.
We've been working on this for a while, and we have CEO, president, founder, just the boss lady of SellHound. Susan is what I'm going to say because I messed things up. My mother-in-law's name is Susan. Her name is Suzanne, and I just know I'm going to mess this up, so I'm going to try really hard to get it right. And I have to apologize right now if I mess it up. Suzanne Wouk is coming on the show.
Don't screw it up. She is the CEO of SellHound. We've talked about it in the past. It's an app that essentially, it gets rid of your death piles.
She's a big deal, and I'm happy that she is going to give us a little bit of her time to come in and talk to the people here.
I know we talked about it kind of before what it is, and I don't know if she's going to be okay with it. I'm thinking I'm going to try and give her a nickname.
Oh, man, don't you be going and giving people nicknames. That's what you do, and then we lose friends sometimes.
I know, but if we do, like $100 bill, he loves it.
That's true.
You know, I got to meet with $100 bill on Saturday.
I'm a little jealous. I haven't been to the meetup group for a few months now, so
No,
I haven't seen Bill.
He came and met up at my group.
Your group of you, party of one. Thanks for inviting me to lunch with you and Bill.
We didn't have time for lunch. We were planning our profits.
Okay. Well, I don't want you stepping over a profit. I'm trying to think.
No, not a Moses.
Attorney-client privilege. I don't know how that works in the tax world. Is this?
You're thinking Moses or Noah profit. I'm talking about PRO.
Oh, I definitely aren't thinking Moses or Noah prophet and you in the same sentence, my friend. Don't hurt your arm patting yourself on the back there, buddy.
Easy now. No, $100 bill came down. We had a good planning session. He's wanted to move to P-Town.
I had a great time out there. I could highly recommend it for the sourcing alone.
I didn't want to break the news, but I think you guys were in P-Town the same time.
Well, there was a time warp I felt something, one of those senses in the force or something that, why wasn't he out looking at the Goodwill with me then?
He was trying to look for property.
Smart man. And apparently there's still property to be had, so good on Bill.
The $100 bill, he's in charge of our eBay meetup group here, and he's looking to branch out. He's looking to move down to the motherland.
Well, I mean, if you can't beat him, join him. And Adam must be a good salesman because, well, he's talking man into moving to the desert.
Yeah, I think they still got a couple years, but we're laying the groundwork for his wife.
Hey, there's worse places to end up, I guess.
There is. So, getting into it today, like I said, we got a special interview here, the second half of the show. First half of the show, man, I got to hit a couple things.
Bring it. Hit me with your best shot.
Oh, I don't know who sings that, but that's a good one.
Fire away.
Wow. Which, Brian, on his birthday, he really appreciated that, his little shout out.
I got to make up. So somehow Brian became a golden ticket winner, and now I got to get in good with him because we're going to have to hang out for a half day doing some stuff. So I can't have you guys just bullying me the whole time.
I'm a little jealous because he got a hologram sticker. I don't even have a hologram sticker.
He got the golden ticket. There's still a few at large. And speaking of that, our t-shirt winner of the week is Everett Denny. Ooh. So there you go. We'll get the t-shirt out to you.
There you go. So those of you who this is your first time listening, first off, thank you for catching us up. We are a podcast. We talk about fun stuff to sell, how to do it, and also the business aspect of it.
And sometimes we get out in the weeds a litlittle bit, and we just like to tell stories and have a good time doing it.
The derailment. So we have been doing this contest this year. We've been on for a year. Tremendous growth. I mean, tremendous. Can Can he come out and maybe give a little guest?
He's way busy. From what I understand, he's feeling the burn bigly. I don't know what that means, but he's feeling it.
We'll have to see. Maybe
Huge.
What was that?
I'm very busy. No, I'm not. We got important things going on. We can't have a clown and horse and pony show going on. We can't get political with people. We got people tuning in to hear our special guest alone.
All right. Well, tax time. So, anyways, we had a little program. Talking about just doing some reviews for us, getting us out on the what do you call it? iTunes, Podbeans, arm scratcher, dog catcher.
The internet.
Okay, the internet.
World Wide Web.
I had a client come in today talking about it, and he asked me if we're on Spotify. I said, yes, we are.
You bet we are. I saw that you have the shirt displayed loud and proud out there.
I got
it looks good.
I got the shirt out in the lobby. So, anyways, you get on, you find us, you like it, go on there. We've been running a contest. If you showed us that you did, like us, give us a 5-star. Derek had a special golden ticket. We're a very, oh gosh, before we get, I'm trying to lose weight. That's where the whole thing stemmed from. Eating cabbage stew, like I liked it. Somehow I get morphed into this Grandpa Joe from Willy Wonka Factory.
Who eats rat stew? That guy. I don't even like him.
Yeah,
if you go back, here's the numbers don't lie. One of our top downloaded episodes ever is Grandpa Joe was the scumbag. I think Anti-Grandpa Joe Nation is behind and with me when we come out and say that guy was a mooch.
I almost was able to snap a picture today. Friend, he lives right around the corner. One of the Dixon brothers. They own the meat store right over here. They've been cutting up meat since like 1940.
Dixon Meat.
Great guys. You can't make this up. You just can't make this up. He's walking over, he had a tax question for me. I'm much obliged to do it. You know what he was walking with?
I don't even dare. I mean, a rack of ribs? What?
He had a pot that was still steamy with cabbage stew in it.
The guy's a butcher. What's a butcher? You don't trust a butcher with a kettle of cabbage.
It was like, I almost asked for a taste. It looked that good.
Maybe he's getting ready for St. Patty's Day's coming up.
Oh, man, that's my favorite holiday. People don't want to hear about our cabbage. They want to know, Derek, how are you going to make me money? And Adam, how can you save me money?
Well, I'm done making people money. I want them to return the favor, but I actually did a little sourcing this week, and it was funny because I had to run a shirt over and a sticker over to our boy Phil. We talked to Phil a few episodes back. If you go back and listen, he owns his own card shop, and we're getting into it. I'm getting actually cards together, and Phil's actually going to put in some cards to send with us. I'll talk to him about that. So
Brian's going to get some too.
Okay, well, we need this next week or so. We need to solidify this so we can get it out because there's no backlog to get back by the summer, so on and so forth. So we're going and stop by, visit Phil for a minute, give him the shirt. He puts the sticker up in the shop. If you go, we're right by the city Chamber of Commerce now in front of his shop.
Yeah, buddy.
Phil's a good dude. I was perusing my Facebook ads, as I'm one to do in the Facebook Marketplace, and I see this ad that says wrestling stuff. I got a bunch of stuff. Ask, I probably have it.
Ooh.
And so you know me. I don't ask. I say, what do you got? Give me some pictures and tell me what you want for it. So guy sends me back page after page after page and says 100 for everything. And I said, 100 for everything? I mean, there's over 70 DVDs that I've counted just going scrolling up and down with my finger.
You couldn't pull that bill out of your pocket.
I said, I'm on my way, sir. And I asked him where he was located, and it was farther north than I'm usually willing to go. It was up in Layton, which is a little over an hour away. So I got my wife and said, hey, we're going for a road trip. We're going to stop and see Phil. And then we're boogieing up to Layton. And I told the guy, hey, I'm on my way. You want me to call you when we're getting close or anything like that? And he said, oh, I'm actually awaiting a heart transplant. I'm not going anywhere. And I said, oh, I'm sorry to hear that. So, I really am.
Knowing you probably says, so where's your house? And can I meet like your kid there? I'll leave $120. It's good. That's what you did. You did it.
Guy's about my age too. This is the sad. It's a good story, sad story. So
is he your doppelganger?
No, you're the only one with doppelgangers, and I got internet photos to prove it. So I says to the guy, okay, I'm on my way. And he says, well, I'm not going anywhere because I'm waiting a heart transplant. And I said, I'm really, this is a true story, Adam. Excuse me. I said, I'm really sorry to hear that. He goes, it's all right, life happens. And so, all right, giddy up. He had a plethora of, he had shirts, he had hoodies, he had DVDs, he had cards.
Hold on, you just skipped over the meat. Is this what you saw on, like, the ad, or did you go to his house and get the stuff?
Oh, I'm going to his house. On the ad, he just sent me a few things and said 100 for everything. And I saw enough to know, hey, we need to get going because somebody's going to come and undercut me, and they're a lot closer to Layton than I am. I said, babe, get in the car. We got a code 3 in Layton right now. She said a code 3, and I said a code 3. And she said, seriously? And I said, man's waiting hard. He could get the call any minute that it's time to go.
You're skipping the... So did you, like, Skype him while he was in the hospital bed? Like...
No, he's waiting. He's at home.
Oh, okay.
When you get on the heart transplant list, he had an artificial. You're jumping the story.
Okay.
He had an artificial pack, and so he's awaiting the surgery, and once it comes in the news that it's arrived, then he goes to the hospital.
I knew they call you Mr. Scumbag, but I didn't know if you were so scummy that you were picking through a man who's on the heart list.
I'm not quite, well, I might be that bad, but I'm not quite that bad.
Okay.
So we get up there, I said, code 3, get in the car. We get up there, and I said, do I need to bring, this is how good it is, I said, do I need to bring my own boxes and bags, or do you have them provided? Because I knew there was that much stuff. And he goes, oh yeah, I don't have any boxes. You're going to have to bring your own boxes.
Oh, I thought you'd be, like, prepared with that. You know, you are the Eagle Scout.
Oh, I have them. If he has them, I'm not going to bring my own.
Oh,
So I got the good, big Goodwill bag.
The big league.
And then I had the 2 orange crates I'm usually taking my stuff to the post office with while they were empty. So I throw them in there. And we boogie on down, as the kids would say, down to Layton Town. And so we get there, and he's like, I'm surprised you found my address. Most people have a hard time finding where I'm at when they come to buy stuff for me.
So I'm a professional driver. Me and Jeff Gordon, we do the same thing.
I said, I don't know if you know who I am, but I'm Derek D-Roy Everett. Gary Vanderchuk follows me on Twitter, my friend.
The Ice Road Trucker.
I don't follow him. He follows me.
That is a true story. Like, I don't know how this happened. Like, my people I look up to, my friends, apparently that's what they do. They find out
Adam says, hey, send Gary the cards that you're selling and his 2 million followers. I said, no, he can ask me. I'm not going to give 2 million people the things I'm after, especially when I see he's getting into my Rock rookie card. Yeah, he's treading in waters where he ought not be, my friend. I'm about to tell Gary to back off a bit.
Between Gary and Hulk Hogan, like, you're swinging for the big boys.
And so I actually, thanks to Gary, I picked up a new card that I'm not going to tell you about on the air right this very second. I'm going to get graded to see how it goes. But so we get up there, and he's like, I can't believe you found my house. And I'm like, it's what I do professionally or whatever. And then I'm like, so why are you getting rid of everything, because I am kind of feeling bad. And he's like, no, I'm done with it, And wrestling is very much that way. You're into it for a while, and you take a break, and then you come back into it. You never really, leave it, but sometimes you outgrow and you change, and you'll come back. And at this point, he's waiting for a heart. He's done. He had a lot of Harry Potter stuff all over his apartment. A lot of Harry Potter stuff. So I think he kind of turned in the turnbuckle for a Quidditch ball. Is that what the Quidditch? Isn't that what they play in Harry Potter? Quidditch.
Oh, I don't know.
Your kids read a lot.
They don't read Harry Potter.
Well, educate them.
Hey.
Get them reading Harry Potter.
Hey.
I gave him a book.
My son ordered a book on Amazon. The kid who became president, not the kid who wanted to become president. Apparently the president died, he was vice president, something. Anyway.
No, you keep trying to steer this one way, I'm trying to steer this another.
I'm just saying, you're telling me this.
Harry Potts. He has a wizarding world
he got
on the west and the east coast.
He got the book in the mail. He spent 300 minutes, read the cover-to-cover book after he got it from Amazon.
He's a smart kid. Both your kids are very smart.
Much smarter than me.
And so he's like, no, I'm just kind of done with it, whatever. And so I'm like, okay, cool. And then I look at my wife and I hand her the box and I said, the DVDs, I said, get loading those before he changes his mind. And so she's putting them all together, and I'm getting these hoodies and shirts and stacking them in, and I'm making sure I got everything. And it was just a sight to behold. And I go out and I'm putting loads in the car. I come back in and I have $100 bill. I said, really? Like, that's all you want? It's $100? Like, be sure this is all you want? It's $100. He's like, yeah, that's all. That's good. We're good. And so I'm like, get the DVD, get him in the car. Get him in the car now. And so we go out, and my wife's like, I can't believe all that. I mean, we're both kind of like, man, that was a good haul. And I haven't left, and he comes outside. I'm like, uh-oh. He was waiting a heart transplant.
Hit the gas. Hit the gas.
He couldn't leave, and he's coming towards my car. And I'm like, oh, okay, well, probably wants a little more money, and, okay, or, maybe wants some stuff back or whatever. He's like, hey, you forgot all these cards. He has a handful of cards, right?
Shut up.
So he hands her the cards, and he's going, hey, thanks, man. I'm like, yeah, I hope things go good. What? Thank you. Like, what can you say at that point? It's kind of humbling, and in a way, it's like nice, but you're like, I have all sorts of emotions going. I had a very weird emotional week all week, and so I'm already, and this was probably the mid of it, and so I'm like, all right. And before we go, I'm like, okay, he's go back inside. I need to look through those cards to see if there's any that I need to keep, condition and stuff. So I'm going through, and I find a card in there that's in fairly good condition, and it's a card that not a lot of people know about. And I sold one that was a PSA 10 for like $250 a few years back. So I'm like, well, that's a good one. Put that one anyway. So it was a very productive pick.
Well, then let's be honest. Like you said, I know the kind of guy you are. You're going to go home, go through your stuff, and I know what you're going to do.
I'm going to give him every piece of Harry Potter memorabilia I have.
You're going to do that. You're going to send him a nice thank you card. You're going to, you'll send him a $25 gift certificate to the Chili's, and that's just the kind of guy you are.
I really hope that his heart transplant, I can't follow up on this, right? Like, it's one of those things where you just meet, and it's weird if I hope everything goes well. I hope he finds a heart and he has a happy life, because he was a very younger man. I mean, not even 40 years old, I doubt. And it's just one of those things where it was just a weird conversation, but very nice, very generous.
The universe aligned, and his stuff went to the exact right guy.
Well, he says to me, too, he said, hey, I held this, I took it off of, said it was sold. I was getting a lot of people commenting after, but since I told you it was yours, I held it for you, and thank you, and appreciative. And nicer guy I haven't met, at least in, 3 calendar months. So, very grateful, but that was my picking week. Then we were coming back, and there's a place there that maybe we should take Brian if he wants. I don't know. There's a place where there's a Savers, Goodwill, and a DI all in the same parking lot. And, and Holly said, hey, you want to stop over there? And I said, I got so much stuff right now to go through and do. I can't. We got to get listed. So I didn't stop. And so
I'm going to walk through?
The problem is, it's like a drug addict, right? So there's this whole thing about if you go through rehab and you're clean, you can't hang out with your party and friends anymore because you can't stay sober. And people always think, well, I'm clean now. I can go and just not participate. I just won't start drinking, or I won't take a hit or whatever. And all those same people that do that, they go, maybe they're good for 1 or 2 times, but they hit it and they hit it hard, and they usually overdose and things like that from that. So as far as it goes with reselling, I'm that way. Is if I go into a store, I can walk around for a minute, but before you know it, I have a cart full of things. I've spent $300, and I'm like, I don't know where I'm going to put it. I'll list it when I get home. I swear. This time's different. I swear this time's different. I can't just go and walk in a store.
If there was only an app that could help you list things much faster and much easier.
Hey, maybe there is, and maybe we'll be hearing about it here coming up soon. And it definitely helps out, but I mean, like I say, we've got the sports, you got all these different things. And my wife has shoes, and she's like, hey, should I throw these away? And they were these Nike shoes. I mean, she's worn them for a little bit. I'm like, no, I'll sell them. Oh, you think somebody will buy them? Within a week, $20, man. And she's like, yeah, we bought them for $50, so.
Hold on. Can I share with you some insider information?
I don't know, last time you tried to do this, I about started crying, so go ahead.
Just had a guy in here, good guy. He works at eBay.
Wow.
One of the clients.
Okay.
His job is he monitors people that are on there, and they're trying to pull a fast one and rig a sale to go off of eBay so they don't have to pay fees.
Oh, so he's the guy monitoring the comments of,
yes.
Hey, contact me at Derek Everett at yahoo.com 75
yeah.
for 3 Skittle bars. I'll send these to you via,
Exactly. So that's kind of his job. So, I kind of told him about the podcast, and he's, really, just a really cool guy. Anyways.
Well, why don't we have him on?
I already asked him. I says,
You have all these cool guys. We need to have some cool interviews.
"Oh, I know. That's what I'm working." I asked him. I says, "Hey, can we have you on?" He's like, "You know what? I'll find out. I'll ask." So
The seller's got to know.
I know. So that was one thing. But here is the breaking news of some bolos.
Bolo news from Adam Beasley.
Apparently, right now, besides the coronavirus mask, those things are hot. You get them, you sell them. Apparently, there's some article that says, "Hey, these aren't going to stop the coronavirus." No doubt that people are still buying them. So that's one.
Those are hard to come by.
I know that's
Don't ask me how I know.
It's not the breaking. I know.
Them
Yeah.
scumbags.
Yeah, not the breaking news, but apparently, stinky women's shoes are blowing up in the UK.
Well, with that, I guess I'll just keep moving on.
No, I'm dead serious.
I'm not doubting you, but I don't want you to go down the line of fetishes the weirdos got.
That's why they're buying stinky women's shoes. So I know, like, this is a facade, and I've seen you at other places. You know,
I'm not down with stinky women's shoes.
I'm just saying.
Is that what you're
like,
trying to imply here?
I'm just saying, maybe your wardrobe could get, improved by selling some of your old stuff.
Oh, so you're saying I smell like a stinky woman?
No, I'm just saying maybe I've seen your closet before, and you got some stacks of stuff.
When you ever see my closets?
I've been to your death pile.
When?
What do you mean? When I went over and looked at all your Jerry Sloan pre-stuff when you got it in boxes?
How long ago has that been?
It was probably a year ago.
Did you go through my closets as you're implying to the good listeners?
I'm not saying I did, or I'm not saying I didn't.
I'm saying you didn't. So stinky women's shoes.
Stinky women's shoes apparently is hot.
So if you were to go to the thrift store and just buy random shoes and mark them as stinky women's shoes,
I don't know.
and some guy over at the UK is just, buying them up left and right.
Apparently that's what's happening.
I got a question for you. I know you had a few questions coming in. I had an opportunity, and I sourced this one out, and I decided not to buy, which tells you something. So we have this major case, and it's kind of going on in here, this Daybell murder mystery. Very weird. You've been following. I know you don't watch the news at all. I know that you're all fake newsed out and all this stuff, but you gotta know about this thing.
I've heard about it, but I don't. I like to sleep at night, and that's not one of the things I.
So, very weird case. Everyone's probably heard about it. Missing kids are involved. Doomsday cultish type thing. Well, this guy was an author in our area. So I had the opportunity to buy some of his books that were signed by him, his name's Chad Daybell. He may be on trial here very soon. His wife was just arrested. Very, very weird. Dateline's already done a 2-hour special, and they haven't found
the kids. Right?
the kids.
Yeah.
So this is it's going to be a podcast.
Fresh, yes.
If you're into that kind of like the cold podcast, the murder mystery type stuff, this is very just bizarre. So I had an opportunity to buy some books that he had actually signed, and I sourced it out. So I went and asked some people. I said, "Hey, what do you think about this?" People I trust. You were busy doing taxes. People that I trust, and that's what I'm asking you now. What do you think about? So would you do that where you'd be selling a book by somebody that might be a murderer, potentially, might be in some weird thing,
Yes.
might have killed children,
Oh.
might allegedly has a lot of stuff going weird that way.
I don't know. That actually is a great quandary that I wanted to bring up, and I'm glad you did. And I'm not skirting your question. This is not the debate. I'm just.
Yeah, I'm generally interested because I'll let you get to your point. Like Ted Bundy, Charles Manson, a lot of that stuff sells, and it sells very well. Personal items, people collect anything and everything. Go ahead.
Jack the Ripper. So something happened this week that eBay took down. Not Kobe Bryant memorabilia that is normal, regular stuff, but they had his big viewing, his big thing, his memorial service, and people were flipping that stuff like crazy. Like, they're talking 25x for what it was, and it was kind of insane. And they stopped it because they says you can't profit off of somebody's death, which again is, I don't know.
I mean, it's their sand yard, their sandbox, and we're playing in their their yard. They did the same thing with Chester Bennington of Lincoln Park. He committed suicide a few years back, and people were trying to sell memorial things from his funeral.
I remember. Yeah, it's one of those weird things.
I know it's hot. I know we've talked about it. I think that's the kind of thing that at least wait a couple months, right? Like, I know you're trying to hit while the iron's hot, but that's one of those, people are going to get upset, and red flags are going to get thrown. If you just wait a few months, I'm thinking...
I don't know. I think maybe kind of the same. I mean, like,
I don't know.
O.J. Simpson memorabilia was hot. Like,
still is.
It's one of those weird things. So if I were in that situation, how much does the books cost?
So here's the thing, and I didn't buy them. So if you are interested, I can send you to.
I'm not buying. That's like voodoo for me.
That's where
I
decided. You know what? I do a lot of things, and some people think I'm a scumbag or this and that. I have my morals and my lines.
You'll go into a guy's house who's awaiting a heart transplant and rip him blind.
I didn't rip him blind. I gave him his asking price. I didn't even negotiate at all. I said, "I'll be there in an hour, and here's your money. And are you sure you don't want more?" That's why it was up to him to say, yes, I'd like $200.
All right. Whatever makes you sleep well at night.
I sleep well at night, and the man was very happy. But yeah, I decided, you know what? I can't do it where the kids are still missing it. It's a very, national case, all this, but I just can't try to profit off of that. So that's where I drew a line in the sand, I guess. So I don't know if that makes me a better man or if I'm losing my touch, but
wow.
It's one of those things that's just so weird, and we always say, what's in your area, what can you source locally and stuff, and sometimes those weird things like memorial service type Kobe items, if you're in the LA area, probably we're more abundant, and if you're here, we got weird doomsday cult members, so there you have it.
And Jerry Sloan jockstraps.
Allegedly. Not the Jerry jockstrap, but I know a guy that can hook you up with that, if that's what you're looking to get into. What could that fetch me in the UK, I wonder?
That's a great question. You tried listing that. Those of you, like I said, new, this is your first time.
You're wondering what you've got yourself into at this point.
What rabbit hole what bizarro world did I slip into?
I thought this was about selling stuff online.
It is. It's the bazaar it sells. Derek, going back a couple episodes, one of our probably our second most downloaded episode about his story, the long version.
We went a long way home.
That was a good time talking about how he landed a lot of Jerry Sloan, famous NBA coach. He hasn't passed away yet. His wife passed away. Anyway, he's got a huge amount of stuff. Derek stumbled onto it, and he had boxes of stuff and phenomenal stuff. Getting into that, talking about the phenomenal, we're going to get to some tax talk. It's tax time.
It is tax season.
We talk about things that are hot and coronavirus, like whether you want to say it's real or it's not, it's actually impacting people's lives. What I mean by that is I had another great client who's in here today. He sells some beard stuff.
Whether you want to say the coronavirus is real or not?
No, I'm not saying real. The impact of it.
Okay. Guy sells beard stuff. Go ahead. I was just...
Don't even try to throw me on the science
I took the long road around to make sure I processed what I heard.
Don't you try. I'm talking about the stigma. There's like 30,000 people.
Guy has a beard.
The common cold. I mean, anyways.
Your beard man.
The beard. He was trying to go to Japan tomorrow.
Oh wow.
And they've got calls in right now. Apparently in Japan they have canceled school. They have canceled large graduations. They have canceled any kind of group like congressional meetings. Like you can't go to them.
I know our friend Mike Painter of the Husky section, who we're trying to get in to do some more recordings, was set to go to Germany, and they said,
So I believe it's impacting a lot of people. So that's kind of one of those things to look out for, to know what is really going on in those masks. We talked about masks. Those are again they're hot items right now. So.
Hey, another thing going on is eBay did the spring seller update. I haven't even had a chance to look through it. I know we usually cover it on the podcast. We'll hit it next week because we got our guest coming the second hour. We got to keep it moving.
Keep it hot and heavy. So we're going to wrap up here in just a few minutes, catch a couple more things, get in some tax stuff.
Need some tax talk. I know you had some questions. I also want to say really fast for people, pool noodles are back at the dollar store. Pool noodles. What people do with pool noodles is a lot of times you're trying to find packing material.
Ooh.
You can get these for $1. You cut them up, and they work to pad heavy items, kind of that filler gap stuff. They're very flexible. If you're selling something heavy, awkward, you might not want to do the bubble wrap because it's going to be costly or break a lot. Pool noodles at your dollar store, get them while they're hot, kids.
Wow, that's some great advice. And while you're doing that, you want to make sure that you use your business credit card. And if you just happen to stop next to the Chinese restaurant next door, like right off, that's kind of how we like to look at it. It is 1099 season. You got to file your tax. If you're slinging on eBay, Macari, if you're using, any of these other platforms, buying and selling on Facebook Marketplace, you got to report that income. Like, I know I've talked about it. I'm going to bring it up. Like, at some point in the next 3 years, the government will know what you're doing with Venmo. Like, you can't just pretend that, the government's not going to find out about my money. They're going to know about it, and it does you literally no good not to report those sales. Because if you're anything like Derek, you have a tremendous death pile, you're going out, you're doing things, you are a business, and all you're doing is increasing your inventory, so the better off you are and realistically honest you are about your books, the better you're going to know how bad your hobby is.
I was trying to put together my taxes this week. I need to schedule something with you. I got going through my GoDaddy bookkeeping. I don't know what I've done, but numbers and figures, and I'm just like, Adam's just gonna have to sort this out. I don't know. I've tried.
Your price for your return is going up. It's like that clock.
It really is. I'm like, there's 10 seconds left. I'll be all right.
It's like our national debt. It cannot stop going up.
It just keeps going. I'm like, wait a minute. If I take this here and move this there, was that a cost of goods sold, or was that this category? Maybe if I put it in office expenses, it'll bring that down a little bit, but then that goes up.
That's my job.
I got to the point where I was like, there's my numbers. I went through and added my mileage. Adam's pretty good at his job. He'll make sense of all this.
Here's the thing. Like I said, we talked about this when we were at the eBay meetup group here at our place in Utah. You have to understand that if you're making money, like if you're bringing in $20,000 and $30,000, the government's going to say, all right, these guys probably realistically didn't make a ton of money. There's fees, there's shipping. You got to be realistic, okay? And if you're in this as a hobbyer, or if you're doing this, the government is not going to allow you to bring in, 10, 15,000 and for you to lose 10, 15,000. Like, that's just not how it works.
You lose 7 or 8.
No. If you're in this game and doing it and you're losing money year after year, it is not a business, it is a hobby. And the government is not going to allow you to make $100,000 or $80,000 or whatever at your other job and then lower your tax liability because you're losing money at another business. I know that there's a myth. I know that there's a secret thing saying, if I just had a business, I could lose money and save money on taxes.
I've been telling people that for years.
Yeah, and it's just not true. You have to make money in order to have expenses. And the reality of it is yes, having your own business has a lot of perks, especially as you have realistically business meals, cost of cell phones, things that you would normally use on a regular basis.
Although your visible mobile is just going down lower and lower, less right off.
We had somebody hit you up about it?
I've had several people hit me up about it.
Perfect. Here's the name of the game. Make more money, spend less. Like, that's the name of the game. That's what you want to be doing. And filing your taxes in the most productive, honest way will always do you the best. Now, don't get me wrong. I'm not saying I want to pay as much money as I can to Uncle Sam. That is not what I'm saying. A good tax professional will give you the advice, the things that you should be doing so that your liability will be as low as it humanly has to be without you going back to jail.
Because nobody wants to go back to jail again.
Like I said, keeping track of everything, that's the business thing. The best thing. Using business cards, keeping it separate from your accounts. That's kind of where you want to be. Make it fun. Like, doing reselling is fun. Accounting is not fun. Derek had another run-in. I got to speak at the career day at the high school here, and apparently I wasn't as cool as I thought I was.
You weren't invited to eat at the cool kid table after your presentation.
Actually, I was. Me and Brian hung out.
The cool kid table. I clarify, you were not invited to the cool kid table to hang out afterwards.
That was also the cool kid table after the presentations. That was the guy that
I'm sure it was.
the guy that I told you that was buying and selling.
But we're waiting to come on the show and tell our
Thanks.
people how to do it, man.
Okay, well, yes. Apparently counting is not the sexy job that I thought it was.
Well, the women beg to differ.
I asked my wife. I mean, she's out of my league.
You're a salesman.
That's true. That is very true.
And you're a closer.
Well, thank you. I appreciate it. Hey, I got you on this show, and I know you keep fishing for co-host guests while we're having the baby. I'm watching you.
We need some content. Adam's going to have a child here in the next month, and the show, this old wheel's going to keep on rolling.
Yes, it is. We've done it every week for forever. So, tax time. Get track of your 1099s. If you have any questions, you don't necessarily need to use us. We've got some sources here on our website. We've got some simple profit and loss statements just to kind of give you an idea. But filing your taxes is extremely important. Keeping track of your items, it also keeps it funner. Like, everybody knows, like, oh yeah, I bought that lamp for $12 and sold it for $95. So, like, everybody knows what they bought it for. But keeping track of it just gives you a better sense. And I myself have improved my eBay system.
You do tell.
We had the eBay room downstairs. We weren't hitting it as hard. Had a chance to lease it out, so somebody moved in. So I moved all of my stuff in that little office over there, and I got myself a system.
Well, do you care to go into detail for the folks?
We've got 9 bins. We've got them, all of the same kind of items in there. I've got to work on my listing, so that all I have to do is open the bin and I know exactly what items are in there. But I feel really good because it's a lot cleaner. It's a lot chicer. You hear that word? That's what the kids use these days. But
Chic is what the kids use these days?
Yeah.
Chicer? Okay.
Isn't that cool?
I don't know. You were at the cool table, not me. I don't know.
You wouldn't know. So we're trying to improve our systems, kind of make it to where we're more efficient. That's what the name of the game is more efficient.
Hey, when it comes to listing, I think we have somebody coming in that knows a little bit about that. I think we have Suzanne Wouk. Wouk.
You're gonna. I know you. You're gonna make some smart out comments.
I'm so nervous.
I mean, because you are woke.
CEO of SellHound coming up in mere minutes, my friend.
Don't make a comment about being woke or that I'm not woke.
I don't need to make comments when it's stating the obvious, man.
Oh God! Please don't embarrass me.
I mean, this is a big time get, Adam. This is a once in a lifetime opportunity. If we ever want to have her back, best behavior.
I will do my best.
That's all I can ask.
Well, like I said, that was it. We had it was a great week. I'm excited. We got some good things on the table here for the next week. We're getting our cards together to send off so that we can get them graded. If you're unfamiliar with that process, cards are hot right now. Getting them graded essentially tells exactly the value, or not the value, but the quality of the card.
We cover it in the archives. Go back and give it a listen in detail.
I'm just giving a little something, a little tidbits, some sneakies.
Sure. Yeah. All right. Let's go to break.
Let's go to break.
Suzanne is coming up.
Well, it's taxes of death piles and taxes. It is that time of year. We're going to have to do something. Uncle Sam wants his money.
Who doesn't want their money?
Well, he's got a lot of it, but we all got to put it in the system. That's the country we live in. So, need to file your taxes. Got questions? You want to know more because you're a reseller. It is a little more difficult than it is, especially if it's your first year. You're getting into it. You're going to get these 1099Ks. You can get information that you don't know what to do with, and we don't want you to pay any more than you have to. So, reach out to us here at Adam Up Accounting. You can go to our website. You can check us out on social media. We'd love to help you out. Like I said, we know the resale game.
Go over to visiblemobile.com. They always got some new promotion going. Right now they're giving you a tablet if you sign up.
Ooh.
Just every day they're giving you something bigger and better.
Yeah, we're all going to have a cell phone. I mean, you're sourcing. You need some form of communication. And Visible Mobile is a great option for you. What do they do, Derek?
Well, first off, right now it's $40 all in, but they're saying $25 to try them out. It's unlimited everything. It's Verizon coverage, so it's the best coverage out there. You get a mobile hotspot, just everything, man. They give DeathPiles and Taxes listeners $20 off, so if you're to go in and use our promo code and get the new $25 to start, Adam, I'm not a mathematician, but what is $20 off of 25?
That's not a lot to have to pay every month.
That's $5 to give them a try. You owe it to yourself.
That's right. That's all you got to do. So what is that promo code for us, Bob?
Everybody's favorite. Now, just this will be in the show notes. I have to explain that because it's not very user-friendly. I understand that.
Well, they're going to get us a better code one day, but right now, hit me with it.
BVWVQ.
That's not that hard.
It's not that hard. Put that in the promo code and we'll save you $20 off your initial, plus whatever else they're going to give you. VisibleMobile.com.
Go to it and you can tell us thank you later.
Hey, we're here with DeathPiles and Taxes, and we got a very special guest on the line. Joining us right now is the CEO of SellHound, Suzanne Wouk. Suzanne Wouk.
Yes.
I got your name wrong. I was more worried about the last name than the first name because that's my mother-in-law's name.
Oh, really?
But was Wouk, was that correct at least?
Woke was actually very correct, and it's funny because it's become a very popular word these days with the young people.
I try to inform Adam with this kind of stuff. He is not woke, but we can work on it.
Well, I am woke. Whether I'm woke or not, I'm woke. So
It sounds like you were born woke and Derek became woke.
I was married woke into woke.
That's the best way to do it sometimes, I guess.
Yeah.
Hey, well, thanks for coming on to DeathPiles and Taxes. This is our first big interview, I think, Adam. We've had interviews in the past, but we've never had a major CEO.
Well,
Coming out of California, too.
Yeah, it's a pleasure to be here, and thank you for having me.
So I've listened to lots of interviews. I mean, obviously, you are an extremely smart, intelligent, entrepreneur, savvy type woman because you've been doing this for how many years have you been flipping?
Oh, boy. Actually, online, I've been flipping since the beginning of the internet. I've been a seller on eBay since it was called Auction Web, pre-IPO, so since 1997. But I've been buying and selling since I was a kid. And I'm not going to say how many years ago that was, but...
Oh, you don't need to tell us that.
Right, but that was, more years than millennials are, the oldest millennials, let's put it that way.
So you always hear about these stories of a lot of men selling baseball cards or going out and shoveling lawns and mowing, doing that sort of thing. What kind of things were you doing pre-internet to flip?
To flip? Well, I was buying at cheap places and reselling, like thrift stores, right?
Yep.
And reselling. And when I lived in LA many years ago, I had a little booth in one of those auction malls. So I would, gather things in thrift stores and put it there for sale. Before that, like I said, when I was a kid, I actually grew up in Israel. And in Israel, it was interesting because in those days anyway, they didn't have thrift stores because people really valued their stuff. There wasn't that much stuff. So when you had something that you wanted to get rid of, you gave it to somebody who needed it. So the concept of thrift store wasn't very popular then. But I found this little fundraising with these old grandma's place and I would buy tons of stuff and then walk a couple of blocks to kind of the fancy Rodeo Drive street, that had a fancy secondhand store, and I would resell there. And for me, as a 14-year-old, I made tons of money. So yeah, for many, many years I've been doing that.
Wow.
So you're just smart, is what you're telling us. Is you figured out a need and you didn't let anything stop you. You filled a niche.
I don't know, smart. I mean, yeah, I'm smart, but it's more entrepreneurial. I think there's some of us that are just born and going, oh my God, how can I make money? You know,
Yes, I know that feeling.
when I was younger, even younger, much younger, I would, take things from my drawers and sit outside on a little blanket on the street and try to sell it. I had my little store, except that I lived on a cul-de-sac. So, once in a blue moon, a neighbor would pass by and feel sorry for me and buy one of my pieces of junk. But, I always looked, I remember doing, also, I remember trying to do perfume out of mushing up roses. And, I just had all these crazy ideas.
You were making the multi-billion-dollar magic oil stuff back before it was big like it is now.
That's right. I should have stuck with that one.
Yeah, we'd be having a different conversation. You'd need me as a full-time accountant and 10 other people.
Right. Exactly.
So is that a motor that we're born with? Because we have this conversation with Adam and just on our podcast, but it seems like some people have that motor and they're driven, and then there's other people that don't have it. Is that something that you think that you can learn or teach people, or is that just something you're born with?
I think I want to correct you with your words.
Okay.
Because driven is the wrong word. Only, because it implies that people who are entrepreneurs are driven as opposed to people who are not, right?
Yeah.
I think people are driven by different things. So some are driven by wanting to learn how to dance or learn, do other things. So yeah, I was driven. I think that the entrepreneurial, I think it is something that a lot of us are born with. But I do believe that you can learn for sure. I just don't know, because I never experienced what it's like not to have that drive. I don't know how much fun it is for that person. For that person, it might be, oh my God, it's work. I have to go to the thrift store. I have to find things. I have to sell it. It might be a hassle. For me, going to the thrift store is my yoga.
Oh, yeah.
It's when we actually have a Goodwill down the block from my office. And when I need to get away and I need to think about things, I go to Goodwill. I don't even buy anything. There's just something about looking at the things that people give away that gets my brain into a creative place. I don't know what it is, but it's just one of those things.
It's the smell that does something for you, right?
Yeah, for sure.
So when you go into a Goodwill or a thrift store, do you have a certain path of areas that you hit first? I know we've talked about it. I kind of tend to go more to the T-shirts. Adam will kind of look at the case and search more of the hard goods before he gets over that way. Is there a direct path that you just, when you hit a store, you go to the same spots, you kind of look at the same thing, or do you have different paths depending on where you're at?
Yes, I do. I do have changed my paths when I'm actually looking for clothes for myself. So I would do the clothing first because sometimes I need a jacket or whatever. But I actually, I'm very I go to the junk, the tchotchkes, the
Hold on, what did you say?
The tchotchkes.
I'm unfamiliar with that term. You're gonna have to inform me.
Adam's from southern West Nevada, so tchotchkes, Adam, the little trinkets.
Yeah, trinkets. It's actually a Yiddish word.
Oh,
And
Yiddish.
it means, it's Yiddish, which is a great language, by the way. It's a very onomatopoeic language. It sounds like what it is, right? A tchotchke is one of those dust collecting things you put on your bookshelf,
So you're looking for the weird tchotchkes.
Yeah, I like stuff. I like things. That's what I think attracts me the most, although I will scan the entire thrift store. I know all my bolos. I know what T-shirts to look for, what jackets, what brands, what jewelry, I know everything. I mean, I don't know everything, obviously, but I'm very educated in bolos. So I can walk into a thrift store, spend 20 minutes, $20, and walk out with $200 worth of stuff.
Wow.
Is there You think you can do that? Because I'll tell my wife that same thing. I'll say, when we walk into this thrift store, there's $100 bills hidden here. I just need to find them. And she looks at me like I'm crazy. Do you think every thrift store, to some extent, I know things get overpicked and things, but for the most part, do you think that there is treasure to be found in any thrift store across the nation?
I think yes, although I have walked into thrift stores where I'm going, oh my God, there's nothing here, nothing here. And I think that I am spoiled because I live in Santa Cruz, California. Now I'm going to give away all the people living around here are not, it's going to kill my business, right? But I think that, and why I realized that living in Santa Cruz, California, so it's a coastal town. It's near Silicon Valley, but it's over the hill. It's the end of the line, meaning people don't pass here when they commute, right? So I think that, and you have to spend 30 minutes to get here. So I think that because of that, there's a lot more things in our thrift stores. You know, if there's a thrift store where a lot of, like in a big city and a lot of people commute and all on the way, they'll stop at Goodwill and check it out, kind of thing, then I think that it's picked more often. But here, so unless you make a special trip to come here, it's only the locals are, picking. So that's my theory anyway, because I have walked into thrift stores in other cities where I'm going, oh my, there's nothing here. I mean,
It sounds like your Goodwill is like at the cul-de-sac. Like you're kind of at the end and you got to turn around, but you don't go there unless you have to.
That's right. That's right.
All right, so we're Death Piles and Taxes here, and what really intrigued me with your story, and I first saw you at eBay, up at our eBay group up in Draper, Utah. Your big thing with SellHound is you're busting Death Piles. You're getting rid of this problem for us.
Correct.
How did you come up with SellHound? And I guess explain to our users, or our listeners, me and Adam have talked about it from time to time, but what does it do for us as sellers?
And I love it. I've been using it. It's great.
Oh, fantastic. Good to know. So actually SellHound, the platform, you're talking about the app, and the app is part of the bigger platform. And the bigger platform is the world's first click and sell re-commerce platform for secondhand goods. Basically the Orbitz or Kayak, but for re-commerce. So as you guys know, and everybody, I'm sure most listeners know, there are hundreds of secondhand marketplaces where regular people like you and I can sell our stuff today, right, online. And of course you have the 5 to 10 big ones, but then you have the smaller ones. And sometimes it's confusing. Where should I sell my Nike sneakers? If I sell it on, maybe Grailed, it's a men's platform and it's men's Nike sneakers, I will get more money than I would on eBay. But then there's a marketplace called Goat, which only sells shoes, and you can actually probably get more money on Goat. So you want to get the most amount of money. But trying to figure out where the best platform, it takes time. So on our website, we have what we call the Fetch engine. And the Fetch engine is, again, the world's first search comparison for secondhand marketplaces. So you can do a search for your Nike shoe or for a leather, Harley Davidson leather jacket or something like that, and we will serve you back multiple marketplaces like eBay and Poshmark and Mercari and Grailed and others with the current price and sold price of that item. You can dig a little deeper and actually on the site and find your specific item. And that kind of gives you an idea where the best marketplace to sell. So that's our first main product that we released. Our second one, which is actually the most exciting one, I think.
There's more exciting than that?
Thank you. Is our mobile app. So the idea of SellHound is a place where you can search, list, and manage all your stuff across multiple marketplaces with just a few clicks, right? So I spoke about the searching. Now, how do you sell with just a few clicks? Or how do you create a listing, right? So the app, with our mobile app, all you have to do is snap a few pictures of your item, and that's it. You're done. You don't have to type a word.
That's what I did. The Super Bowl just happened, and I had an old San Francisco 49er jacket, and that's exactly what I did. Is I used your product. I took about 5 pictures. Next thing you know, it's on eBay, and I'm like, holy cow! And I got people saying, "Hey, how much do you want for that jacket?"
Yeah. So that's it. You have to just snap a few pictures. So what we do from the pictures is we identify the item, we do the research, we create a highly optimized listing that includes all the best keywords for that item, for that particular item. We fill in all the relevant item specifics. We find the price. We give you an average price that we found for that item, including shipping. We send it back to you. It's a draft of a listing. You can change anything you want. It's your item. A lot of our sellers don't. And then when you click post, it posts directly onto your account. It's your item. It's your feedback. We are like a virtual assistant. It's like hiring a VA to do all the work for you. Yeah.
Do you have a nickname?
Do I have a nickname?
Yeah. Because, right now I feel like you're the Mortician because you are putting death piles. You're just putting them away. You are just killing their death piles.
I know. I know that's a good thing, but I don't know about.
It's a great thing.
I know it is. So here's the thing about our listings. Exactly. The problem with the death piles, and trust me, I have the death piles. The problem, because
that makes me feel better. I can tell my wife that.
Well, but because our app right now is focused on fashion, and I told you I like tchotchkes. So all my tchotchkes are waiting when we open SellHound to other categories. But the reason why we're able to get rid of the death piles is that it takes you 1 minute to 2 minutes to take. How long does it take you to snap 3-4 pictures, right?
No time.
Right. So that's, and the listing itself comes back, we say within 1 business day, sometimes less. Sometimes, lately we've been getting a lot of listings and we're trying to keep up. But the point is, it doesn't matter when you get back your listing. It matters how much time you're spending on it. So
exactly.
if it takes you maybe 10 to 20 minutes to create a listing, for something that you're very familiar with, probably you can even do it for less. But if it's something that you're not familiar with, so you sit and you do the research and you figure out the keywords and blah, 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 it takes a while. So you can do maybe 4 or 5, listings an hour with our app. If it's something that is simple, you can do like 30 hats if you do 30 hats in a row, because you take the picture of the front, the back, the tag, the blemish, and boom, you do the next one and the next one and the next one. So within an hour, you could have taken 30 pictures of 30 items and then go have a margarita in the hot tub. Go do something else, or go source, or go do other work. But within a business day, you'll have those listings done for you, and then you just post them. So, that's how we are helping with the death piles.
I know you say a 24-hour turnaround, but I've been using it. It's more like a couple-hour turnaround. That's one of the things I've been surprised with, and also the item specifics that eBay keeps adding for us to go through. I mean, that's where I'm really getting clogged up in my death piles. Is I can do the pictures, I can come up with a description. I've usually done the research, so I kind of know a price. But trying to go through and itemize all those things so I'm found in Google, I mean, that just takes forever. So to be able to hand that over to you and your team and let you do my hard work has really been, for me, with the uses that I have done, it's just almost a lifesaver that I can go on to the next thing.
Well, that's good to hear. Yeah, thank you. Yeah, we're trying, eBay keeps on adding item specifics. They keep on changing things. They're driving us crazy, of course, too. But we're constantly testing our items to make sure that they're found in search. So the other thing that we do, right, is not only that we create the listing for you, and we make it easier for you. Our listings, even the keywords that we use, we test to make sure that they're profitable keywords. And what does a profitable keyword mean? A profitable keyword means it's a keyword that the buyer who's looking for that specific item would more likely use, as opposed to another, maybe something that means the same thing, but they wouldn't use it as much. So we've developed programs and tools that search different categories, depending on what category it is, to find the keywords that are most used. We also search Google, because with Google we can find out what people are actually searching for, right? Not necessarily on eBay, but when they're looking for an item, they're looking, they search using the search. So we're very cognizant, very careful to make sure that our titles, our listings, will be found more by buyers than if you created it yourself. And I like talking about this because when I talk to investors also, and especially with investors, because they're like, the people that I talk to, they don't buy at thrift stores. They don't sell. It's kind of a interesting thing to deal with investors who, rich people, I guess, is a different way of putting them.
I think you need to be talking with Gary Vaynerchuk. Are you familiar with him?
Yeah, I am.
He loves that trash talk. He's all about that.
No, I'm a mug life type of person. I mean, I love
that's what I'm talking about. You know what you're doing.
I know. I've been, I've actually commented it a little bit on some of his stuff. I'm thinking of reaching out to him, but that's true.
You guys connected. He's all over that. That's the whole reason we have this podcast. To be honest with you, is I follow a lot of his stuff. And about 13 months ago, he said, "Hey, do a podcast." And we started doing one. Like it says, I've got 15 years of experience of accounting. I deal with a lot of resellers, and it's a different ball game unless you really know what you're doing. Right. And that's kind of how we got into it. Derek's got a vast experience in eBay, and that's why I love really what you do is you've made something easier that every person deals with.
That's right.
But the way I look at it is that sounds expensive. I mean, that's got to be out of my price range. I got all these fees. It's probably going to cost me what, $4 or $5 a listing for you to do all that work for me?
So our prices run between $1.50 to $2 right now per listing.
You shut up right now. I don't believe you.
Yeah, we are actually, that's an introductory price. Good. It is going to go soon. So I recommend anybody who, we are going to grandfather in people who bought subscriptions now, because we sell both packs. So you can buy a pack of 5, or you can buy a subscription like 30 or 100 or 300 listings a month. And actually a lot of sellers like that because keeps them honest. They say, oh, I have to do, they kind of puts them on a schedule. But so, at a reduced rate, you can buy bigger packages.
I know you said that you're going to branch out into some other things besides clothing and that kind of thing. If you ever get into sports cards, I will be paying you so much money that you can retire and be full-time in that spa with the margaritas, because I got a death pile backlogged forever, and the devil is in those details.
Interesting. Yeah. No, definitely. I mean, there's so many other categories. We kind of decided to go with fashion first, only because fashion is actually 50% of all secondhand items that are traded are in fashion. And it's the easiest thing for anybody to kind of start in this business. They just go to their closet and start selling stuff. So, and it's the hardest because one of the hardest, because you have to, there's so many design names and necklines and, lapels and all sleeve styles. There's so many variables and those keywords again. And I was talking about the keywords. So the interesting thing is that now that we've created about already over 90,000 listings already.
Holy cow.
And we're able to see now. We have data, and we're able to see how well our listings do compared to listings like, we have sellers who were selling before and then selling with SellHound, and we are getting incredible velocity numbers. And eBay uses this term velocity, which means that how soon the item sells within 30 days or that kind of thing. And our velocity is 3 times higher than, or listings created by SellHound are 3 times higher than a regular seller creating a listing. So we're very proud of that. And of course, you can create 5 to 10 times more listings an hour. So we're really helping, people, part-timers, don't have a lot of time, do this as a secondary income, baby is sleeping, you have an hour, go quickly, post a few things. Instead, you can post 10, 30 things, not a few things. So we're very proud.
Yeah, you've been fixing a lot of things, and for a lot of us too, we get into this, but I don't know if it's like you, but I kind of get that itch. I got that addiction when I hear that cha-ching.
Yes.
It just does something into me. It's like better than being in Vegas.
Yes, because the cha-ching means that you got money, as opposed to Vegas. It's that you keep on hearing the cha-ching, but it's there's no money there.
It goes fast. At least when I'm at the I'm at the Goodwill, when I'm thrifting, it takes an hour or two, so I can enjoy it.
Yeah, right.
You're pitching at South by Southwest, which is a major accomplishment. How did this happen? And it's coming up. I guess, can we get the exclusive on what's going on at South by Southwest?
Yes. So South by Southwest has so it's technology, film and music festival, and it's like a mosh pit of bringing all this creative energy into one place. So it's exciting, and we applied, and I think there are like 4,000 startups from all over the world that apply. And we got in. We were nominated as one of the. So it's exciting, and we're gonna go, and we're already getting phone calls from venture capitalists and investors, and it's really, really cool. It's really exciting.
Well, that's what's awesome, because it is. It's you came up with I've listened to some of the interviews. Your family was texting us, should I buy this? Can you help me list it? I mean,
yeah.
That's what all our buddies do. We've got a text chain where now all of our friends, if they're somewhere, we'll send, hey, what do you think about this? And
yeah. So that's how I came up with this idea. So awesome. SellHound is actually my second startup. The first one was called Snap Post, and it's very similar in terms of the app. It was for eBay, but it was a little different. And the way I came up with this idea was, like I said, I've been selling since eBay was called Auction Web, 1997, pre iPhone. So when the iPhone, what was it, 2007, when Steve Jobs did that great presentation, I still watch it sometimes, it gives me chills, of the iPhone. When the iPhone became popular, I started getting pictures. My friends and family knew that she's the one who sells on eBay, not really knowing and understanding what I do, but knows that I like junk and I sell junk. So anytime they were at an estate sale or a thrift store or whatever, and they would see something cool, they would send me a picture and say, hey, this is, only $2. Should I buy it? And I'd look at it and go, oh my God, yeah, buy it. You can probably sell it for $50 or not, that kind of thing. And of course, the next message from them was, oh my God, I tried eBay. It's so difficult. Could you sell it? Could you create the listing for me? Could you help me? So, sometimes I would, being a good friend or family, whatever, and I would create the listing for them, send it to them, and then they would post it. And that's when I realized, that's really when I got my aha moment, because I realized all they did was snap a few pictures. That's it. And what they got in exchange was a listing created by a very experienced seller who knew what they're doing. So I said, oh my God, there ought to be an app for that. And I live in Santa Cruz, California, which is a stone's throw from Silicon Valley. In fact, we're 25 minutes from eBay headquarters, actually. So, I enrolled in one of these startup incubators things. And that's when I launched SnapPost. So that SnapPost was the kernel of the idea. SellHound became bigger because there's so many marketplaces, and because the confusion of where to sell and cross-posting and all that, it became a lot more sophisticated. So that's how SellHound was born. And we use with SellHound, with the app, so we have virtual assistants, but we also use a lot of technology. So wherever we can automate pieces of the listings, we do. The exciting piece is that we're also starting to use AI. So we're training and, so that's the piece that really excites me on this.
Wow.
Is just, yeah.
I can tell because I do the same. You're excited. You're passionate about your product. You're giddy, getting ready for these conferences. I've got another company that I sell off-road wheelchairs. I help a lot of families, but I'm the same passion, kind of how you are. I've got a big pitch conference tomorrow, but learning to me is the fun part. And that's what I can see you've done is you came up with this amazing idea. People want it. People need it. And now I guess the part is how else can we help you? I know we want to get our listeners to get on and try it. What other things could we be doing to help you out so more people are familiar with your product?
Yeah, I mean, talk about it, tweet or like, or repost things about it. We we have a limited budget. We're trying to build this thing to make it the best and the easiest listing tool for everybody and anybody. So yeah, spread the word. Download the app. You can download it both on for Apple and Android. The fetch engine is in the app as well, and that's free. The app itself, of course, is free, and you can use the fetch engine as many times as you want for, when you're going to source, so you can use it to make sure that you're buying something that's worth something. And then we also give you 3 free listings to try the listing service. So you try it. Plus, like I said, our prices are going to be going up soon. It is an introductory price. As you can imagine, we're not making money right now on the listings. We just want people to use it. We want people to talk about it. And we will grandfather in anybody who buys a subscription today will be grandfathered in as long as they keep that subscription. So it's probably a good idea to try it, see if you like it, see if it would be useful for you. And if so, I would recommend to, get one of the subscriptions that work for you.
It's about ready to blow up. I can tell by the South by Southwest, the investors. I definitely recommend all of our users to get out there, listeners to get out there and download it and just give it a try. That's what me and Adam did, and we're both amazed by how easy it is and how fast you can list things and get through some of your death piles. Suzanne, before you go, I've been doing my research, and I got a couple of off-topic questions with you, if that's all right.
Sure.
Now, I see that you've went to UCLA, and we're in Pac-12 country ourselves up here in Utah.
Okay.
But you're a screenwriter, and you've been an actress in some major Hollywood films. But it says here that you have worked with Gene Simmons, and I have to ask you, what was that like?
It's funny. It was like you could imagine. So.
Okay, we hear so many stories about Gene Simmons, and I just had to ask somebody that's actually acted with him. How was it?
I played his girlfriend in a movie called Wanted Dead or Alive, and he's a brilliant man. He speaks 8 or 10 languages, and it was interesting. It blew me away because, I told you I grew up in Israel. I referenced even Yiddish in this podcast.
I was going to ask you that.
Well, my parents actually came and visited us on the set. My mother is from Hungary originally. He turned to her and started talking full Hungarian. He spoke full Yiddish and Hebrew. He was actually, I think he when he was a young kid, he lived in Israel for a few years. He was like a religious kid in Israel or something. The man is brilliant. On the one hand, brilliant man. It was great and fun to work with him. At the time, I think he was just dating Sharon Tweed, right?
Yep.
But he played my boyfriend in the film, and that was intense. Let's put it that way.
Okay, that's fair enough. He also seems to have a business mind. I've heard some interviews with him as well. He's kind of a butt of a lot of jokes, but when you look at what he's done, not only with the band Kiss, but just merchandising alone, he's got that same, I call it a motor, desire, whatever you want to call it. He's got that built in with him. So I just was reading through that, and I thought, is that same Gene Simmons, and kind of looked into it. So sorry to go off topic there, but I had to ask.
No, he definitely is, and he is. You're right. I mean, he's brilliant. He's very talented. And it's a shtick. His shtick is to be coarse the way he is, and he obviously chose that, and he does it well.
That's a pretty good shtick he's got there. So.
Yeah, right. That's another Yiddish word, by the way.
Okay, man. We're learning Yiddish like crazy. So one other kind of, we're always about the home runs and the base hits. So you've done this for a while. Give me two things that you were like amazed that you sold, and that you were like, I can't believe somebody paid that much money for this.
I found one time mid-century modern. That I recommend for everybody to look for the keyword mid-century modern, or MCM, and search sold from high to low. Just that. I'm always amazed by, of course you have the really expensive furniture, fine, the Eames chairs and all those. Okay, $4,000, $5,000, $6,000. I'm not going to find an Eames chair. But when you go a little further down, plastic waste baskets that look like from Target or IKEA, they can sell for, $100, that kind of thing. If it's an original, mid-century modern by a certain designer, they look like garbage. I mean, it looks like. So I'm always impressed with that. And I did find a lamp once that was, I was looking at it. It did look like a Target thing, but the lights, what is it called, where you plug it in, the plug, looked a little old, and it was heavy, and I was going, this looks too ugly to be, it looks too ugly, meaning that's probably good. And I brought it home, and I did a lot of research, and I found out it was one of these mid-century modern designers, fancy schmancy, and I ended up selling it for like $1,600. I bought it at the Salvation Army. I remember it was Salvation Army for like $7.45 or whatever. So that was.
That's just like me and Derek. That's kind of what our wives did. They took a chance on us, and we both turned out to be home runs. So
are you mid-century?
Yeah, thanks. That's great. Appreciate that reference.
I'm certainly mid-century, right? Another time is I went one time to, like the Goodwill bins. We used to have one here called the Bargain Barn. They moved it, sadly. But they would do like a dump every day. What they did here is they dumped everything in the morning, and then they opened the gates, and everybody went running in, and things went flying. It was a scene. But one time I went, and there were all these teddy bears all over the place. And I realized somebody died, probably. I always find stories, right? I make up stories. So somebody died, and the kids, of course, the kids are going to throw away everything. That's another thing that I want to tell everybody. Don't hang on to your shit. Because when you're dead, your kids are just going to donate it to the thrift store. Sell it now. Use the money for something else, right?
Wow.
Anyway.
We're going to have to get you to sell the end of our show. I mean, we always say the two things that are certain are death, piles, and taxes. So.
Right. So there you go. So I went and I saw all these teddy bears, and I picked a whole bunch of them, and I couldn't buy them all. But there was one teddy bear that kind of looked at me sadly, and I was trying to figure out, is this one going to, if I'm going to make some money off of it? And then, I decided to put it back. So at the end of the day at Bargain Barn, and I always go at the end because I want to be kicked out because otherwise I'll be there all day. So I need that, that's my type. So at the end of the day, they bring these big machines and they pull all the junk and they throw it in these big containers and it was off to the dump. And as I'm looking, I see that teddy bear that I didn't pick hanging from they had this big forklift thing.
The claw.
Yeah, the claw. And he's hanging like from his leg looking at me in slow motion as he's being put and thrown into the bin. I still, just even telling that story, I feel like I killed a kid, I killed somebody. That I didn't, he was looking at me so sadly. He was like, why didn't you take me? Now I'm going to the dump. So yeah, and I ended up buying, one of the teddy bears ended up selling a big, huge teddy bear for $600 to a vet. For some reason, a vet bought him. Beautiful, big, huge teddy bear. Yeah.
Well, we have our listeners out there that are just starting this off. We'll wrap this up. We know we've took way too much of your time. You've been very generous to come on here, and we appreciate every minute that you've given us. We have a lot of people who listen, and they say, I want to start selling. I just don't know how or where to start. As far as the clothing and things go, you have just simple bolos that people might overlook that seem to be at the shops all the time that people just getting started could look for, some tips for beginners before they come to SellHound and stuff. We always say just try it out, list a few things. You have any suggestions or recommendations for people just getting started?
I would actually recommend go to your closet. Don't go to the thrift store. Get your feet wet, absolutely. Go to your closet, take a few things. It doesn't matter even if it's going to sell for $3 or $5. It doesn't matter because you're learning. You're learning how it works. You're learning how the shipping works. You're getting feedback, right? All that is important for your business. But in terms of thrift stores, shoes, I would recommend to go men's shoes. I like men's clothing. I don't like women's clothing. And the reason is men, if it's a little too big, they put on a belt. Women, if it doesn't fit perfectly, they'll send it back. So that's what I found anyway. So I like to focus when I do fashion, usually when I pick, and I don't have a lot of time, jackets, like men's jackets. A lot of times at thrift stores, they price them like a shirt or maybe not. So you can probably find something for that you can sell for a higher amount. But start with brands that you look everything up. I look everything up before I buy. At the thrift store, I make a pile in my carriage. I grab everything first, and then I sit on a nice comfy couch there. And I go through everything, and I always put everything back nicely so the people who work there don't go, oh no, there's that crazy lady again. They're happy when I come because I put everything back that I don't buy, and I always leave with good things. So.
Wow. Well, you've got some tips, some trades. You've been doing this for a long time. Like I said, we really appreciate you coming on the show and sharing us with your knowledge. Definitely good luck to you here at your South by Southwest show. When is that happening, Suzanne?
That is in Austin, Texas, on the 13th of March through, I think, like the 18th of March.
Wow, that's coming up so soon.
Yeah.
Best of luck to you there. Like it says, we really appreciate it. You've been more than helpful. I'm just amazed, like it says, what you've created over the years. We got one question for you. See if you can help us out with this. Like it says, we're called DeathPiles and Taxes. And maybe if you could help us end this little segment. And what are those two things in life that are certain, Suzanne?
DeathPiles and taxes.
All right.
For sure.